Hey, we were doing unit fractions in the design. That's incredible. This is way better than the golden ratio.
Hello, my name is Sébastien Rey. I'm the curator for ancient Mesopotamia at the British Museum.
I'm Matt Parker, maths person from YouTube.
And welcome to our corner. So I know, Matt, that you like to solve mathematical puzzles.
I try.
And okay, great. So this is what I have for you today.
Excellent.
It's a mythical lost temple, which was designed by a god who speaks in math, built by a king who understands the language of the god, and a mathematical puzzle, here it is, which basically ties all of these things together.
Okay.
All this is set in ancient Mesopotamia.
Yep.
Birthplace of the base 60 system. So shall we try and crack this?
Oh, this is the puzzle. Oh, wow. Okay. And is the shape around it like a river or anything, or is this not relevant?
It is relevant. So
It is relevant.
Imagine this is a tablet.
Oh,
Like
okay. Oh, this is the shape of the
architectural
tablet.
Exactly.
Ah, okay, got it. I mean, my naive reading would be this is like a plan of a building. It's,
Correct.
Thank you. It's got a lot of right angles. And it's got one entrance at the front, one on each side, and 3 at the back.
Yeah, so that's 6 gates.
So, now, this could be some kind of number system etched into a thing, or it could be like a sideways view of a hill or something. But let's go with numbers. So, okay, naively, I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notches, which means if they're doing a tally system, they're not doing groups of... There's no symbol for 5. Were this a number system, would be my logic. Because there are different lengths here.
Okay, I'll give you a clue.
Yep.
So it's an archaeological object,
Okay.
and most often those objects are broken. So what we have here is broken, and some of the marks have disappeared.
Ah, and they're
gone.
Oh, okay.
And
So it
this
could be a
bit is
ruler?
broken.
That bit's broken.
That's it.
It is a
You have
ruler.
it. It's a ruler.
Hey.
Okay.
All right.
So let's call it a sort of graduated ruler, rod, or something like that.
So the different lengths is just wear and tear.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So the preserved lines, and then some of them are missing.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So you got it right. It's an architectural tablet.
Yep.
It's the plan of a building.
Yep.
So it's not any kind of building. It's a sanctuary. It's a temple.
Okay.
And you have indeed underneath a sort of what looks like a ruler, a rod, right, with some lines. So this tablet belongs to a statue, and it's arguably one of the most iconic statues of ancient Mesopotamia. And I'm going to show you a photograph.
Okay. I'm excited.
So this is an old book. It's more than 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
It's here in the British Museum. And let me turn...
Oh, and it's all just images of tablets and... there's a ruler.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll get to that in a second. But if I show you first of all the statue, here it is.
Okay.
It's carved in stone. It's almost life-size,
Right.
but it depicts a king, and his name was Gudea. So he ruled an ancient Sumerian city called Girsu at the end of the 3rd millennium BC. So you see here on the statue, the king has his hands interlocked.
Yep.
So he's in a position of prayer. And on his lap, this is where the tablet, so this reproduction...
is on there.
Exactly, placed on his lap. This statue was found with inscriptions, and they give us a bit of context or background to the story of this tablet. And it's really a fascinating story because it starts with a dream. So in the dream, King Gudea, he receives the instructions directly from the god himself to build a new temple for him. Shows him the divine blueprint of his temple. So that's presumably
that must be it.
Presumably
surely.
what is indeed carved on the tablet. And he speaks in numbers. So he communicates to the king the metrology, the sacred metrology for him to build this temple. That's presumably what is on the ruler, right? So the statue was found in the 1880s. So the French archaeologists working at this site started in the 1870s, and they continued excavating until the beginning of the 1930s. Right. So for a long period of time. And they were obsessed to find this temple. And they looked everywhere, but they couldn't find it. They thought that this plan was an abstract
Yeah,
plan,
yeah.
right? It could not be the real
not a literal
sanctuary.
building.
Yeah, absolutely. So they thought it was a mythical sort of abstract idea of a temple. So a few years ago, the British Museum opened new excavations at this site. So imagine this is the excavation trench,
Yep.
right? In southern Iraq, we're at the site of Tello, ancient Girsu, the Sumerian Girsu.
Right.
And believe me or not, the very first season when we were back excavating after more than 80 years of fieldwork interruption, we found in one of our trench mud brick walls, and we found a gate. And the proportions looked very similar to the ones on
On the statue.
on the statue. So we decided to go back to the statue plan and first try to make sense of this mythology, right? But we had a clue, right? We had a clue because there is a second statue of the same king. It's very similar to the previous
hands,
one,
yeah.
exactly, same hands. And it has also a tablet, which is a bit different. It doesn't
Yep.
have a plan.
No plan.
So that was a mystery for
It's got a ruler.
But it has a complete ruler. And this, Matt, is a reproduction of this complete ruler. So with this ruler and the plan, let's try and make sense of this mythology. And if you want to decipher what is, after all, the language of the god.
Right.
Let's go.
Okay, so once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 6 intervals.
Yeah.
And then over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 5 intervals. 4 intervals. So these are just subdividing the same length into different amounts,
Yes.
right down to halves.
Yes.
And then this is just when you want to measure off a bunch of them.
Exactly.
And so you're doing halves, thirds, quarters, fifths, and sixths.
You got it.
And then these are, what is that? Is that a half? That looks like it's a, is it a half?
Yes.
Okay,
Spot on.
looks like a half.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
exactly.
So it's a half length all the way around.
Yeah.
The sticky out bits are, I reckon they're on the order of a third.
Try and measure the
They
passage.
vary.
Yeah, the passage in between the gates.
So the passage between the gate is is that a quarter? Yeah, it's got a quarter. I think it's closest to a quarter. It's definitely more than a fifth. And so then the sticky out bits are, they're quarters as well. So, these are split into 3 quarters. And each of these is a half that way. And it's a half thick.
Yeah. So, all of the features, I mean, we've tried a few, can be measurable using this system.
There's some division of the unit.
Exactly. Everything.
But that also means you now know the scale that it was built at.
Exactly. Yeah.
What fraction was the gate?
So let's take the width of the wall,
Width is a half.
which is a half.
Yep.
So, and we measured this on the field. So, and it measured 4 meters. So the unit is 8 meters.
8 meters.
Yeah, that's the standard unit in our sort of equivalence.
And does that match any kind of ancient unit? It's just
Absolutely not.
it's roughly 8 meters.
Exactly. It's using our measuring device.
Huh.
Yeah. So once we had this, what we did is we simply overlapped or superimposed the plan. So this is the plan on the excavation site. So on the site in the temple mound, and try and work out which.
Does it go there?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wait,
which
it's to go this way up. Yeah.
Which is the
Could be
gate
that one.
that correspond to the one that we excavated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be that one. Could be that one.
Exactly. Yeah. And so by flying a drone and looking at the landscape, we thought it could be this one. I mean, this was the best match.
That's the most likely.
Yeah, the most likely. So we decided to do what we call a bit of predictive archaeology. If
that's that gate.
Exactly. If this is that gate, if I open a trench here and I start excavating this area of the temple mound,
It should be.
it should be
that
there.
gate.
We should find the gate. So imagine, Matt, you are the archaeologist. So you're standing here, literally about to excavate a 4,000-year-old site.
Yep.
So you're standing on top of 4,000 years of history, and you're opening this trench. And what do you find?
I'm going in.
So you find
a gate.
something like this, and indeed,
Is that the one we're after?
And indeed,
It's the right, it's
we
the
have
right
a perfect
gate.
match.
And if you'd seen something else there, you'd be like,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
we got it wrong, or it's
Yeah.
a different temple, or
Exactly.
Yeah.
It could have been anything, indeed.
And so that now you're pretty confident it's the one from the.
Yeah. So we're very confident that this is not an abstract ideal plan.
Yeah.
Like it's not just the divine blueprint sent to Gudea in the dream and it's all a mythical temple. It's actually what is carved on the statue is the real architectural plan of the sanctuary.
And when were you digging this trench?
So we, in 2018.
Oh, okay. It's quite recent.
Yeah, quite recently. Yeah. So we did have some skeptics. I'm not gonna lie.
Of course.
We came back to London, said, well, we found the gate. Some of our always have, colleagues saying, well, it could be a sort of coincidence. So we went back the following season, and I decided to open a very tiny little trench here. And if I open it, we found part of the southwest.
So you're pretty sure it's that wall over there.
Exactly, the southwest facade wall. So basically, that's what we had to prove. So it's indeed the real architectural plan. It makes it actually the first architectural plan known in history.
So it's the first ever architectural plan.
Yeah, with something that is a sort of metrology based on the base 60 system with the fractions. And I think that's kind of remarkable, really. Remember, this is 4,000 years.
This is old. Yeah,
exactly 4,000 years old. Sumerians, they love to count things. I mean, this is, like their thing. And in here, for the first time, well, in recorded history, that we have numbers used not just to count things, right? Because the numbers, the fractions, they kind of are used in their own right. I think that's kind of interesting. And it's some kind of beginning of abstract numeration, right? We don't really want to know what the standard value is, right? It doesn't really matter. What is important is indeed the idea of proportions and fractions.
Well, a lot of maths came out of practical reasons, like being able to calculate fields and keep track of how much grain to make your beer. Classic Sumerians. But what's nice is to act. Normally, you because it's very easy to look at a plan and you'll start convincing yourself of all sorts of ratios. You're like, oh, this is half of that, this is whatever of that. And you don't know how much is confirmation bias. You're trying lots of things and you're like, oh, these ones happen to line up. But the fact that you've got intent, you've got the actual ruler to go with the plan to say, hey, we were doing unit fractions in the design. That's incredible. Because obviously my first instinct was this is tallies counting things, right? Because that's what we always do. But what you got here is there's no reason why a tower should be a quarter of a unit compared to a wall that's half thick compared to the only reason you're making sure everything is a unit fraction is because it's nice. And for me, mathematics starts being practical. You got to count things, you got to lay things out, but then you're doing it because it's fun and for the sake of it. And so, sure, there probably was maths in laying out any temple, but the fact that you then deliberately put mathematical flourishes on it is deeply pleasing. And you can say it's because number-loving deity says it's a good idea. Whatever the case, they obviously wanted to make a mathematically pleasing. It's built with maths and it's decorated with maths.
Exactly.
And do you know if they built the temple first and then carved the plan on the statue to celebrate, or did they carve it first and they're like, right, now we're going to build one of these?
That's a great question. So I imagine the king Gudea. This story of the dream is fascinating because he must have had a sort of inspiration, a divine inspiration. Why would he commit so much of his resources and sort of dedicate a statue with the plan and the mythology to this god? Is basically saying, I understand. I received your message and I'm sending you the confirmation, right? So I think this is the final step, right? It's after the temple is built.
I've done it.
Exactly. He has done it. He made a statue and he dedicates the statue. So he sends back basically the statue plan and the mythology back to the god and saying, I followed your instructions.
You don't think maybe he just really liked fractions?
He probably
had to come up with a reason.
Yeah, he probably did. That's true. But in Sumerian thought, the way Sumerians were, they really thought this was a divine language. And on the statue of Gudea, you do have one sort of standard inscription, something that is repeated time and time again on many objects, including on the statues. It's literally, and that's in the Sumerian I'm translating, to make things function as they should.
To make things function as they should.
Yeah, exactly. To make things function as they should. So basically to kind of maintain the cosmic order, right? That was established by the gods from the beginning of time. So that's what he is doing.
Wow. So it's almost like making order out of chaos.
Exactly.
Like we're realigning the maths, making all the proportions right.
Absolutely. And that's the foundation of the Sumerian mind. It is really chaos versus order.
This is way better than the golden ratio. This is my only remaining question.
Yeah.
Is, let's say people want to get on board with this religion. Like of all the religions I've heard about, this is the best one. Yeah. What's the name of was there a name of the deity?
Yeah.
Do we know what the religion was?
Yeah. We know a lot. So the deity is called Ningirsu. Ningirsu. So literally the Lord of Girsu. So the Lord of this city.
Oh, right. City they had like a deity per city.
Per cities, exactly. And Ningirsu, he's the sort of hero god of Mesopotamia. So he's really an important deity in the Sumerian pantheon. He's the one who actually is the defender of the cosmic order because he fights the monsters, the demons, evil spirits that are coming from the edge of Mesopotamia, from where is chaos, into what is the civilization of Mesopotamia, right? Where order is. And so he's the shield of this world. And it makes a lot of sense that the metrology is important for him. Yes, exactly.
It's about time we had a patron deity of unit fractions and order.
If you want to know more about ancient Girsu, you can click on the link below.
And most importantly, if you want to join the new religion of Ningirsu, links below. And I've got a video on my channel where I had a look elsewhere in the museum at the earliest maths text where we know the author's name. It's worth checking out.